So I've received my email for my heritage recipe, and I have been given to make hedgehog pudding. So I have to take 2 penny loaves and fair water. I have no idea what fair water is. And a little milk, the yolks of 5 eggs and 3 whites, a grated nutmeg, and a little salt, some sago, I don't know what sago is, and a little rose water, butter, I don't know what that says, oven dish, and put it up close in a cloth that no water get in, and put it into the seething pot. When it boils, flip it out and dish it thus. Prick it full of blanched almonds, raisins of the sun, which I'm presuming are normal raisins, and, or is it plums? Cut them small in long pieces, then pour some melted butter and sugar over it. Okay, a bit of a bread pudding, a bit of a steam pudding. According to the recipe, I need 2 penny loaves. And after thinking about this, I've decided that I am going to use a small loaf that I baked yesterday. A penny loaf apparently equates to about 16 ounces, 16 ounces being a pound, and a pound being about 450 grams. So my loaf that I've just done was 500 grams, and I'm going to grate it. And the reason I'm going to grate it is because, according to what I've been reading, I've had a go at looking at old recipes for bread pudding, and because this seems so much like a recipe, and I actually found a recipe that's very, very similar to my hedgehog pudding, which gives me absolutely no instructions, gives me no measurements, and so I'm going to base it on that. So hence 2 penny loaves, well, they're 16 ounces, but I'm going to halve that because I reckon you would get something massive out of that. And grating bread is not going to be the most fun thing to do. The recipe that I found was more modern, but it has given me some measurements as well. So as I go through this, I'm going to tell you what I've decided to do in terms of measurements, and it also gives me an idea about how to add things to to the recipe. So whereas mine is just saying take some water, and fair water, by the way, I think is probably just nice, clean, healthy water. Whereas mine just says fair water and a little milk, I'm going to use some of the recipes ideas for weights, measures, and all the rest of it, and timing. So yeah, this is going to take me about 10 hours. So I'm going to turn off and I'll come back to you later. Okay, so I did attempt to cheat and use a blender, but the blender just died on me. So now I have breadcrumbed it all myself. This is the last little bit. I didn't do the crusts. I did read about taking the middle out of the bread elsewhere, and I wasn't going to do that, but actually it is really practical when you're trying to grate your bread. So that's that bread, and I'm glad I didn't use 2 penny loaves because that would have been an awful lot. Other ingredients: so a little bit of salt, some sugar, not sago. I thought I was going to be using something called sago. It's not. It's me misreading sugar, which is disappointing because I thought sago would be something alcoholic. 1 whole nutmeg, and the dreaded rose water. So I'm going to grate the whole nutmeg, and then, which seems an awful lot, maybe it should be half. I might grate half a nutmeg and then I'll come back to you. So I'm going to boil some milk. Now it says fair water and a little milk. So I think what I'm going to do is, my other recipe that I've got that's really similar tells you to use a pint of boiled milk. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, let's put, it'll make it more creamy, won't I? I'm just going to use, no, let's, for the sake of the recipe, I'm going to use part milk and part water. And I'm going to just pour this, and I'm going to get that to boil. It says I need to pour the boiling milk over the breadcrumbs, and then some of the recipes say to add the spices into the boiling milk. Others say add the spices and the rose water to the egg mixture that you make, because you make kind of custard, I think. So I'm going to add it to the eggs. Now my recipe says to take five yolks and 3 whites of eggs. And if I've got this right, I've got this feeling that I've read that our small eggs are still bigger than the eggs that they would have used back then. So I'm going to use this other recipe because it calls for 4 eggs, and I'm not going to use so many yolks to so many whites. I'm just going to put the whole lot in and beat it up. Then I'm going to add the nutmeg and the rose water and the salt and the sugar all into that mixture, and we'll see how we go. In the meantime, it tells me that I have to butter a wooden dish. I've had a quick look online to see if there's any 18th century wooden dishes, and there's lots of different things, but what I've decided is, because it's meant to be a hedgehog, it's probably going to be dome shape. So I'm thinking this. I did think it might be this, which is smaller, but I'm going to use my Christmas pudding dish. I've got to butter this, so I'm going to butter that, and then hopefully by then the milk would have boiled. So milk is now boiled. Wait. And I'm going to pour that over the breadcrumbs. There we go. It doesn't say to stir, but I'm guessing I need to stir it in. And I'm going to leave that to go cool. And then I'm going to do my egg. So, bread. I've left that for about half an hour. It's really stodgy. So I'm going to use 4 eggs, and I'm going to use the whole lot. I'm then going to put sugar in. It doesn't tell me how much sugar, but I am going to put 2 ounces of sugar in. I'm going to put the half a nutmeg, which I have grated, which is here. And I can't prove to you now that I did grate it, but I did. Oh, I can. That's the remaining bit of nutmeg. And then I'm going to also add the rose water. I have no idea how much rose water to add, so I'm going to, because I think most people don't like rose water, but it is the 18th century recipe, I'm going to put in a teaspoon and see how it goes. So this is the 4th egg. This is the smallest eggs that I could find. I couldn't get actual small eggs. So bearing in mind what I said, I think that the eggs would have been smaller. So this is all guesswork. So that's the nutmeg going in there. Smells nice. Then I'm going to put my 2 ounces of sugar, which I haven't measured out yet. I'm going to use, thinking they wouldn't have refined sugar. I've got a bit of demerara. I have no idea whether that's a good idea or not, so I'm going to just put demerara sugar in it, and I'm going to put 2 ounces in. God, it seems quite a lot to me, but that's what we'll do. 2 ounces of sugar in there. What else have I got to do? Oh God, the rose water. I'm going to put a teaspoonful in. And I've got a feeling that if it said teaspoon in the recipe, which it didn't because it doesn't give me anything, then it would be perhaps more, I don't know, probably to taste. I like rose water. And then looking at the disorganised mess. Okay, so I've done that. I'm going to now add this. God, that smells of rose water. It's gone a bit weird. It's like the rose water has done something strange to the egg. It's almost made it go into sort of. It almost looks like. That's really odd. It looks like scrambled egg. So obviously you don't put your rose water in with your egg, I wouldn't have thought. Okay, I'm going to mix this in somehow because this is a very stodgy mess now. I'm going to just put it into, now not a greased wooden bowl, greased pudding bowl, and then I haven't got a cloth. I think if I was to do it in a cloth, they say linen, but I haven't got a linen cloth. So I'm going to do what I do with Christmas puds. I'm going to put a piece of greaseproof underneath a piece of aluminium foil. I'm going to put a pleat in the middle of it. I'm going to put it over the top of the bowl, tie it, then I'm going to steam the pudding and I'm going to leave it in there for an hour, which might be too much, but oh well, that's what we're going to do. I forgot the salt. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle some salt in, mix it again, and then hope for the best. Bread pudding, blancmange on a plate. I'm not sure it should do that. So it then asks me to prick the pudding all over and stick pieces of blanched almonds and raisins. I've cut these into little pieces without much success with the almonds, but I'm about to prick the pudding, stick these in. Hopefully it'll resemble a hedgehog. So after some infuriating minutes of putting almonds and trying to get raisins, what do you think? One hedgehog pudding, which now has to be covered with a butter and, well, I'm not sure if it's a butter and sugar solution or whether it's butter and then sprinkled with sugar. I think I'm going to go for butter sprinkled with sugar, melted butter. So, over the top. I'm not sure how much you do. And then I'm going to sprinkle it with sugar. Again, I have no idea how much. I bet it depended on how rich you were. Ta-da! Got to just find a willing victim now. Tell me what you think it tastes like.
Herbs.
You think it tastes like herbs? Okay.
Yes.
So let's just get Thomas to try some.
No offence, but it just does.
It needs cooking more because it's too sloppy. But I don't mind it.
I expected it to be like marzipan